Hello, good evening. Once again, it's Dr. Ariyo here with another session of Health Talk. So the last time that we were here, we talked about the health problems associated with being overweight. We learned about how to work out the body mass index, which will allow us to know whether we are underweight, a healthy weight, or overweight. And then we learned about the importance of having health goals and having a health plan in place that will help us to achieve our health goals. So today we are going to be talking about the role of diet, the role of food and drink in obesity or being overweight. So welcome on board, and I hope that we're going to learn a lot together. Essentially, we do gain weight to a large extent by what we eat, by what we consume, either food or drink. Do we need to eat? Definitely yes, because our body needs energy to be able to function normally. So your ability to be able to get up, to be able to walk, to be able to talk, to be able to be breathing is because of the energy that you have. And you mostly get this from your food and drink. And the body definitely needs that. When we eat, the food and the drink we eat is measured in calories. So I am going to be saying that word a lot in this talk. The food and the drink we eat is measured in calories. Essentially, your food that you eat equals energy to your body. So when we eat, if we eat too much food or we have too much food and drink and the body doesn't use all of it, the body then decides, okay, what can I do with this excess energy that I have? The body then stores that up as fat in the body, and that translates to weight. Any excess fat in the body physically shows up as weight gain. So you see why it is important to pay attention to what we're eating and what we're drinking. So everything that you're consuming on a daily basis, it would either have a negative impact in terms of your weight or actually a positive one. Ideally, what we eat and drink should be used up equally. So if you eat, you should use that same amount of energy, because remember, food and drink is energy to the body. So if you eat and drink, whatever quantity, whatever amount you have that day, you should use all of that up. How many of us really do that? We don't, because the average person really is not really an active person. Most of us have sedentary lifestyles. Most of us, we are bound to the desk. Most of our jobs, we sit at the desk. Yeah, we might, walk to the bus stop or go to the train station. But most of us, we are not really very active from day-to-day basis. When we talked about athletics, we talked about people that are in sports, they actually use a lot more energy, and therefore they're going to need a higher requirement of energy because they are going to use it up, whereas most of us do not use our energy up. Have you ever seen a fat athletic person? No. You never see, when you see Usain Bolt, he doesn't look fat, does he? Yeah? But I'm sure he consumes a lot of calories, but because he is using up equally, it doesn't really translate on his body as fat. So it's really important. So what is sort of the requirement for us to be looking at when it comes to energy consumption or your calorie intake? What should you be aiming for? What should I be aiming for on a daily basis? Well, on average, the recommendation is that for an average meal, we're talking about adults here, for an average meal, your daily calorie intake should not be more than 2,500 kilocalories. Yeah? That translates to about 10,500 kilojoules. So that's what an average meal should be aiming for on a daily basis, no more than that. A woman requires slightly less. A woman needs calories of no more than 2,000 kilocalories or 8,400 kilojoules. Yeah? That seems like a lot of numbers actually, but it's not much. And that's what we should be aiming for. Now there is some variations in these numbers based on your age. For example, children, because children are still growing, their daily requirements, energy requirements, changes with their age, and therefore this does not apply to them. Also, like I mentioned earlier, people that have a higher energy demand, so people that are in sports that need a higher calorie intake, their one might be a bit different. They tend to be on higher calorie diet because they are going to consume it. Yeah, but that is balanced out and it doesn't affect the body. So what you need to aim for really is to give the body what it needs at the right amount without putting on extra weight. Because any extra calorie that you take in that you don't need, the body doesn't actually need it. And the body is just going to store it up as fat. And if you're the kind of person that, your lifestyle is not going to change that much over the next 10 years, you can imagine every day you are accumulating a lot of fat, which you're not using, and you're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Then you're wondering what is happening. So that's why that is so important to bear in mind. I hope you got all that, yeah? Now, when it comes to specifics, specifics in terms of food, what you should be eating, what you should not be eating, I think the aim really is that you should try and avoid foods that are too high in energy, because like we said, food and drink, when you eat it, translates to energy, yeah? And if you have too much of that energy source, your body does not need it, it's going to store it up. So when you are looking at your food, you should be looking at foods that are high in energy content, and you should be trying to avoid them or reducing how much of it you eat. Okay? The other thing that we should be paying attention to now, and I hope from now when you go out to the shops to buy things, that you should actually be looking at the numbers on the products that you are buying. Like I've said to you that on average, on a daily basis, your whole intake should not be more than 2,500 kilocalories for a man and 2,000 for a woman. So when you're buying your product, you should be looking at it, whether actually you're going to be consuming more than you need. And that will help you to be able to decide whether you should cut down in terms of how much you're going to eat of that food, or perhaps you should eat something else. The other thing that is important to do and practicalize and get used to is that, look at the labels on food, because often actually they tell you all these things, yeah? So some foods have what we call the color coding on it. They have like red, they have amber, they have green, okay? Which tells you that actually this food is too much high in calorie, yeah? Or is middle ground, or it's just right. And that also will help you. Now, when we eat food in terms of nutrients, how it translates, well, our body needs things like carbohydrates. We definitely need it, okay? Our body needs fats. We need it, but we just want to eat the right fats, yeah? Our body needs protein. It's really important, yeah, for the body. Our body needs sugars. So there's nothing wrong to eat sugar, but you need it, but you just need to eat the right amount. Our body needs salt, though we don't want to overdo it. So let me just give you a few numbers that you can work with. Carbohydrates, for example, your total intake of carbohydrate, you should not exceed anything more than 260 grams. Yeah? I know some of this might be a bit too much for some of you, yeah, which is fine because it's the first time that probably you are having to look at this thing. But that's fine. The more you start looking at products, actually you get used to, okay, actually a tin of beans has this amount of calorie. So then you begin to work it out, yeah? And it will just happen naturally for you if you start practicing it, okay? If you're going to take sugars, most of the things we eat actually have an amount of sugar in it. Even fruits have sugar in it, even though they are natural sugars, but they do have sugar in it, okay? So your total sugar on a daily basis should not exceed more than 90 grams. And normally, if you're buying something, for example, if you're buying a tin of beans or a tin of fruits or whatever, and actually the sugar content they're telling you there is more than 22.5 grams per 100 grams, that's too high in sugar for that product, yeah? So you should be putting it down, or you should be thinking, okay, something else. Or you should decide, now that obviously you've got that, you're going to get a lot of calories from just that product, maybe looking at the meal that you're going to make, you might need to use other things that have less calorie, yeah, so that overall you don't go over your daily requirement, yeah. So at the back of your mind, you should always have it in your mind that, okay, my daily requirement on average is 2,000 for a woman, for example, yeah? So that's my allowance, my daily allowance. I don't want to go over that. You can reduce that, yeah? As long as you're not doing it in a way that is going to affect you in terms of how you function on a daily basis, you can actually reduce your daily requirement. But you want to make sure that you stay within at least what is needed, because that's what's going to help you to maintain a stable weight. Okay, now for those of us that maybe we want to lose weight, yeah, maybe we are overweight and we want to lose weight, to be able to lose weight and lose it in a safe way and also at the right rate, yeah, so that you can maintain it, you can replicate it, you know, do it over and over again without feeling like you're starving yourself to death to lose this weight, yeah. What you need to be aiming for is that you want to reduce your daily requirement, your total daily requirement, which is the 2,000, for example, for a woman. You want to reduce it by 600 calories, yeah. That would ensure that you lose at least 0.5 to 1 kilogram a week, and that's a safe way to start off with, yeah. So you can try at the beginning to say, okay, I know my daily requirement based, because I'm not an athlete, I'm an average person, I'm going to be sitting at the desk most of the time, I don't go to the gym often, I don't do a lot of exercise, you know, there's not a high demand on my body, so I'm probably in the category of the 2,000 kilocalories a day. That's my allowance. So for me to lose a bit of weight, yeah, and be able to do it safely, I can reduce my 2,000 by 600. So that means that for you, your allowance now is going to be 1,400 calories. And if you are a man, because your daily allowance is 2,005, so if you reduce it by 600, yeah, you means that your new daily allowance is 1,900 calories a day. So that's what you should be aiming for, and that would ensure that you lose at least 0.5 to 1 kilogram of weight a week. Now when you've gotten used to that, so maybe you can even try that first and see that you're making progress. And then when you get comfortable, because honestly, when we start eating, our body just adapts, yeah, your body will just adapt to that change. So when you get used to it, maybe you might try that out for a month or for 2 months at most. And once you are comfortable with that, you might then try and say, okay, let me then reduce my calorie a little bit more. So you might then reduce maybe by another 100 calories until you get to a comfortable stage where you feel you are safe, you still have your full energy, you can still perform your daily functions, yet you are still losing the weight that you want at a safe rate. Because the honest truth is, there is a lot of fad diets around nowadays, all promising weight loss, and most of them are really drastic measures that are actually not safe to the body, yeah. Every food product we eat actually is healthy. Nature has given us a lot to choose from, yeah. So there's nothing wrong often with the food that we are eating. It's often we're eating too much of it, we're eating it at the wrong times, yeah, and we're eating it in a way that is not healthy for the body. And that's what we need to make changes. So if we're talking about in terms of the carbohydrates, in terms of the proteins, in terms of the fats, in terms of your sugars, in terms of your salt, what you should be aiming for is that you should reduce your carbohydrate intake, because carbohydrate is a major source of energy for the body, yeah. It's the one that we get a lot of the energy source we have. And actually, that's what most of us eat. Because most of us, when we eat, if we look on a plate, on our plate, for example, if we're going to eat rice, we tend to have a lot more of the rice, right? Then we have a little stew on top of it, or a little sauce on top of it. And then we might have, if we like vegetables, we might have a little, vegetables by the side. Most of us don't even touch the vegetables at all. And that's our life. We eat more of the carbohydrates, yeah. But what that is going to happen, what is then going to happen is that because you're eating too much of this energy source, the body is just going to store it up as fat if you're not using it up equally, yeah. So you should eat your carbohydrates, but you should be aiming for a low carb diet, yeah. If you're going to eat protein is fine for the body needs it for the muscles, So protein, and a large proportion of our body is protein. So your protein is fine, okay? It doesn't make you put on too much weight. Your fats, you should really be aiming to cut down your saturates, yeah? There's different types of fat. So if you're going to eat, your saturated fats should be less. That's what you should be aiming for. So you need to cut down your fats, yeah? You need to reduce your carbohydrate intake, yeah? And you need to reduce your, you need to stick to your level of protein that you're eating, the safe amount. You need to reduce your sugar intake. Carbohydrates themselves have sugar in it, yeah? For example, if you eat fruits, you're going to have sugar in that. So if you're the kind of person that has a sweet tooth, maybe you like your cakes, you know, you like your sweets, you like your biscuits, you should be reducing that. And ideally, perhaps you should be aiming for more the natural sugars than just going for the artificial sugars. So you need to be cutting out your cakes, you need to be cutting out your biscuits and your sweets, and maybe aim for more of fruits instead, because you're going to get your fiber from your fruits as well. Now the recommendation in terms of fruits, I know there's been a lot of promotion for 5 a day, now we say 7 a day, you should be having fruits, yeah? So the recommendation really is that if you're going to eat fruits, that you should have like what can fit into this. You know, if you made your palm this way, this is what you can fit in here is what your portion is, okay? So for someone like me, I have a weakness for grapes, and I'm sure some of us do, because sometimes you can buy a bowl of grapes, and if you're not careful, you start eating it, and the next thing you know, you have finished it, okay? But you've eaten a whole lot of sugar, basically. Is grapes bad for you? No. Grapes is healthy, actually. You get nutrients from it, you get vitamins from it, you get natural sugars from it, but you don't want to eat too much of it either, yeah? So that's what you should be aiming for. So fruits, you need to, whatever can fit here. So if you have an apple, one apple, don't have the whole chunk of apple, yeah? Don't have many apples, don't have many strawberries, whatever, you know, whatever clusters of strawberries you can fit in here is what you should be eating. Nothing more than that. Don't get too greedy, okay? Think about weight when you're eating. Think about what is healthy. Because I think, honestly, most of us overeat. We eat out of comfort. We eat out of habits. We eat because since we're a child, we've been eating and no one said anything, so we've gotten used to eating, yeah? But your body is such a wonderful thing, yeah? Don't think, oh, if I don't eat, you know, my body is I'm going to be so hungry, I'm going to faint. You know, you are not going to faint. You will be fine. You will survive, okay? Because your body will adapt to it. Also, cut down your sugar, because sugar cause water retention in the body, so that can actually translate as fat. But also, more importantly, sugar raises your blood pressure, something you don't want to have, okay? So pay attention to your sugar intake, your salt intake, sorry. Pay attention to your salt intake. The recommendation is actually you should not take more than 6 grams of sugar. That works out to be a teaspoon of sugar a day. I'm sure many of us eat more than that, you know. So that's something for you to know. A teaspoon a day of sugar, of salt is what you need. A teaspoon of salt is what you need. And most of us, we do more than that. We eat more than that, definitely. So definitely there's room to make improvement. So I hope that you have gained a lot today, yeah? So just to sort of round up, what we've learned today is that what we eat translates to energy, which the body needs. But if we eat too much of that energy, which is in the form of food, in the form of drink, the body is just going to store the excess amount that it doesn't need. It's just going to store it up as fat. And then we are going to then put on the weight. And we've learned last week all the problems that could arise if we put on weight. We said that if we want to be able to maintain a stable weight or lose weight, then we need to be able to keep within the limit. We need to keep within the limits of our daily allowance, okay? And we have learned what that value is for a man and for a woman. That might change a little bit depending on how active you are and the demands on your body on a daily basis. We've also said that that's a bit different for children. We talked a little bit about food, that we should be aiming at having a food that is low in carbohydrates. We should be maintaining a healthy amount of protein. We should reduce our sugar intake. We should reduce our salt intake. The other thing that I will add is that we should eat a good amount of vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are actually the best way of losing weight. You know why? Because they are low in calories, they are low in fat, and they are high in fiber. So actually, you're not going to put on a lot of weight by eating a lot of vegetables, yeah? But you're going to gain a lot of nutrients from it. You're going to get your vitamins from it, and you still feel full up. And recently, I've been experimenting with salads, actually making different salads. And I find that actually just eating a whole lot of salad, which is low in calorie, low in fat, actually I feel full up without having the need to eat rice or add potatoes or add anything starchy to it. And actually, you know, you can have a go at doing that. And invest in your health, invest in your diet habits. You might need to initially buy some books. Now Diabetes UK, they make a lot of books on diet. They give you recipes that you can actually look at and practice it at home, and you actually find out that actually this is so much easier, and you feel the change in yourself. You feel much healthier, you feel lighter, you have more energy to do things. I had a positive feedback from one of the people that have been watching these clips, and he said, you know, now he makes his own salads for lunch, he takes it to work, and he's actually seen a change in his performance. He's seen that he's got a lot of energy, you know, he can do things, and he actually feels proud for the achievement, for the things that he's doing and the changes that he's making about his health. So this is all about you. This is all about your health, keeping well, and avoiding the complications that can come about when we don't look after ourselves, when it comes to our diet, when it comes to our weight. So I hope today you've learned a lot with me, and I'm just going to leave it here. Next time I want to talk about weight and how exercise is important to our weight, because evidence has shown that actually the weight that we cannot lose by diet alone, we can achieve it through exercise as well. And actually it's a combination of diet and exercise that will help us to lose the weight that we need drastically if we want to achieve the weight that we want and to be able to maintain it. Yeah, so thank you for watching tonight, and please do share these clips with your friends, because you know, you don't know what you don't know. Most of us, we make decisions, we make the wrong decisions about our health, about our diet, because we just don't have the knowledge. So this is a medium for you to be able to gain some useful information, some useful knowledge that you can apply to your daily life about your health, so that you can keep well, so that hopefully you can prevent some of the problems that can come about when it comes to our health. So thank you for watching with me. It's Dr. Ariyo here. Please, if you have any specific health questions, any specific things about diet, because I had tried to make this thing as more general so that it can benefit a lot of people as opposed to being specific, because you know, your situation might be a bit different to someone else's situation, but at least the general knowledge can help all of us to start from somewhere. So if you have specific questions, please don't forget that you can send me an email on info@healthtalk.me. Thank you, and take care of yourself.